scheduled for June the 15th, 2021. And our agenda today, this meeting is being recorded and it'll be available to the public on request. And members of the public may access this meeting through our CTC website. Trustees, you'll find a packet near you, which is the evaluations. Give them to you now. If you have any questions, you can ask Ms. Jordan to give you a briefing on what was required. We've done this every year or so. I don't think there's any problem with it. I'd like you to review them, fill it out, and if you would, bring it back at our meeting a week from today so we can get the evaluations posted and off of our plate. The other item, as a reminder, we have the self-assessment evaluation, which is required by SAC COC, and that information will be handed out to you at the next meeting, next Tuesday, and we would like that returned by the following meeting in July. And that's just our own self-evaluation of what we think we're doing right and wrong and what we need to improve on. And item 2 is the opportunity for members of the public to suggest additional topics for discussion or to address topics of interest. Our presentation will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone present who'd like to address the board?
With me today is the CCMR team, and I also have with me 2 incredibly special guests. I have Abdu Dakwa, who was in our original class of 2019, so he's going to talk a little bit with me today. And then we also, Abdu, stand up. So, and we also have David Manzo, who just graduated from CTC and Early College High School just last month. So they're going to be joining me throughout this presentation. So we're super excited to have them here. Okay, so as we all know, this has been a year like no year, and may we never have another year like this again. Incredibly difficult. And so thank God Dr. Kraft said we're going back. And every day I'm very thankful for that, because some other schools postponed and they were still in school as of last week. But KISD leadership said, all right, you're going back. And so we did. And we had 4 days to turn it around. And the thing about Early College High School is that we were doing synchronous learning. A lot of that you hear synchronous or asynchronous. And synchronous is blended learning. We had been doing that ever since we went in shutdown mode in March. Our teachers were live teaching throughout the whole pandemic. So the transition for Early College High School wasn't quite as steep. But the one thing we really made a conscious decision, this is an excerpt of my welcome back letter to the staff, is that we had seen a marked increase of students struggling with the isolation and mental health throughout the pandemic. So we can see within there, talking about that, say, what do we do best? And that's love our scholars and take them to learning that they never knew that they could achieve. We're going to have to fill in the gaps and extend the learning at the same time. Our lions have missed us and need to know that we will always do the Maslow before the blooms. As I always say, breathe, show yourself and everyone some grace. It is not going to be perfect nor precise. It is going to change every other day, and we will adapt. Hold the vision, trust the process. We got this. And so we are a very student-centric campus. And as we all know in this room, we're taking 8th graders to college students in 1 year. And that is an arduous task. And what we do is we're going to meet them where they're at. So we're really excited that we're going back face-to-face in the fall. The majority of our students were online. So the first time I saw some seniors was at the CTC graduation or at the KISD graduation. I hadn't seen them since March 2020. And so you can see here when we're talking about this, the majority of our students that were back were 9th graders. They came out in force. Their counselor really did a great job getting them to come back. But you can see the preponderance of our students in 11th and 12th grade remained virtual. CTC, we were in this struggle together with those 11th and 12th graders. It was very difficult. So they were switching over to virtual learning, and we found out the majority of our students started working full-time in the pandemic. Nobody else was going to work 40 hours a week at Taco Bell, at Chick-fil-A, but guess what? High school students were. And so you're going to see from our data that we had a challenging year just like everybody else. Okay? But we still did, I'm going to call up my student right now is David Manzo, and he is obviously from the class of 2020. So when we graduate, 2021, sorry. Class of 2020, graduation was a drive-through. So we were literally putting diplomas into the backs of cars, and we thought, oh my gosh, the poor class of 2020, you know, they're not having this. But the poor class of 2021 in the middle of a pandemic. But what we did do is we still had those cultural milestones that they look forward to. We had homecoming. We were able to have prom. And you know we're in a new era when students would send me the dress for, you know, approval, and it had the matching mask that came with the dress. And so big business, big business. But I would like David to just kind of talk about his journey through early college and how it was to be a senior in a pandemic and what his plans are for the future.
Good afternoon, everybody. I kind of just wanted to touch on the fact that Ms. Burke mentioned earlier, the fact that ECHS really takes care of our students. I know me personally, I was very well taken care of. When I first came to the school, I was obviously nervous because I'm an 8th grader, I just moved to Texas, and now I have to do this collegiate level stuff. I was nervous, yet every time I would be stressed out or nervous or have any inkling of I can't do this, I would see Ms. Burke in the hallways with her smile walking down, and she's like, hey, how are you? And I remember one time that I had this English project and I was stressed out. It was a group project. I didn't want to fail. And I just started doubting myself, and I didn't think I was showing, but Ms. Burks asked, and she stopped me, and she could have needed to do 1,000 other things, yet she stopped and asked if I was okay, and I told her I was stressed out. And she immediately called my teacher, and we had a sit down, and we talked, and he explained to me, like, no, you can do this. And the care and the love that I felt from the ECHS teachers was what kept me going and made me get through all 4 years. And it was really impressive how no matter what I did, whether it was theater when I was acting in a play, or it was the speech for graduation when I closed out, no matter what it was, I always had ECHS there to back me, and I've only had positive experiences at the school. But yeah, I just wanted to say that for everyone.
Very good.
Also, I am going to University of Pittsburgh now because they have a good medical program there, and I'm trying to, do big things. I want to be a neurosurgeon. I want to aim high, maybe even cure my sickle cell in a better way than what's available now. But yeah, and I felt like ECHS greatly prepared me for that. I feel like I'm able to handle big tasks, and I'm able to focus and know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it because of all of my experiences here at this school.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
He speaks as if he's a college graduate already, so he's certainly a learned young man. What grade would you have been in if we didn't have the early college program?
I'd just be graduating high school now, and I'd be going in as a freshman, and I'd have all these college classes. I'd be stressed. I'd be moving into a new foreign environment. I would not be able to handle all of that if I didn't have some prior experience first. I wouldn't be able to talk to my professors. I wouldn't have that backing that the counselors gave me. It'd be stressful. I could not have done it on my own without ECHS.
Well, the way you present yourself, you've done well, and you're going to do well in the future.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I just want to show you his jacket. This is like a badge of honor. Their number one badge of honor is getting their CTC ID.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. Those of you that see our kids, that is like, they know they've made it. We call it coming across the road, and you'll see them everywhere. They're in the gym. They're in the Anderson Center. So that's their number one badge. But what they get beforehand is their Letterman jacket. And you can see Tell them what's on the back of yours.
Yeah, my last name, I put the GOAT. Greatest of all time, you know. I actually brought my CTC ID. Oh, wrong pocket. This was the first CTC ID I got, and it kind of stuck with me because I was really happy getting it. It was what made me the college student I am, so it was cool. And yeah, I kept it as a memento.
Thank you, David.
I have a question.
Good luck to you, sir.
David? David?
David
Ms.
had a
Coley has
question.
a question for you.
I wanted to ask you, what level will you enter your, what college did you say you were attending?
University of Pittsburgh.
Okay, what year will you enter? Do you know yet?
For my school specifically, it's out of state. There was all these credit stuff
Right,
that we haven't
right.
gone, so I'll be going in as a freshman. But once I get there, I will be able to fast track myself and possibly graduate as if I went in as a junior. So it'd be cool.
And if you don't be discouraged, but
Right.
you do what you do to where you want to be.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, so one thing about early college high school is our demographics mirror the district. So it still is a lottery process. So students have to apply, and then it does go into a lottery process and to match the demographics of the district. Okay, just some photos of things we did this year. I said the freshmen don't even know what I look like, to be honest. It's just been in a mask the whole year. But we, you know, this is what they're going to remember. This is the most important thing. And so we weren't able to have the homecoming dance. Obviously, that was in October, but we still were able to have the fanfare of it. So we did get to have prom. Only the seniors went. The juniors did not. So I told the juniors who are seniors this year that the answer to everything is going to be yes this year, with modifications, I'm sure. But you know, you think about it, the juniors and seniors that are going to be here next year have never been on CTC's campus. And so we're working very closely with Janelle's team. We've got to make sure a lot of orientation, a lot of, you know, getting them used to what it means to be on a college campus. Two upcoming seniors said to me one day, they came to pick up textbooks, they were scared to come over because it was a college campus. I said, don't worry, we're in good hands, we've got a great relationship, we're going to keep you safe, make sure you get fed at the Anderson Center, and you're going to be fine. So, all right, here's just some more data about early college high school. And just some of the outliers, if you look within that, is we actually have a higher percentage of active military students on our campus. Being an Army brat myself, 3 high schools in 4 years, graduated from Ellison. My dad's retired, was retired military. Have a great affinity for students at PCS. And one thing we've really brought to the table with other early colleges is the concept of reciprocity. And so we work really hard for our, any students that's moving, but PCS, and trying to make sure we can get them into other early college high schools or into college track programs. One thing we're really working on, there's this misconception that we only have GT, you know, top of the top kids. We have real kids. And we have ESL, we have homeless students. We had one of our first students last year who had a child 2 years of age walk across both stages. That was a very exciting time, and just to see that she did it. You know, she had a child when she was in the 10th grade, stuck with the program, and still did it. So to see her walk across the stage already ahead, you know, with her child, it was just an absolutely beautiful thing to see. So we're trying to break that format because we just want kids. We just do. I say that all the time. Give me the kids, give me the teachers, let's go. And so we can see there some of the things we need to work on. If we could get juniors and seniors to fill out their free and reduced paperwork in the junior and senior year, we would have a higher percentage of that. But that's just something if you look at there to see how we compare to the district. Okay. 84.2% were able to hold on to the students that stay here. Now, we know some students, they start off because their parents said they're going to go to early college high school, because remember, they've got to make that decision whether they're going to give up band, they're gonna give up football, or they're gonna give up emeralds or something like that to come to early college high school. So we work super hard to make sure that we have things that they can do. Like intramurals at CTC is one of the highlights of the majority of the students. Being able to be part of the theater productions, our kids are in everything. And so CTC has really opened their arms to our students because they're our students. They're not early college students. And so that's the one thing within the partnership is that we're very thankful for, and we want to grow that. We want to take the Rotaract program here and start it over there. And different things that we want to do is try to meld the two campuses greater together. We do have CTC professors that go to the Fort Hood campus, and that's their first taste within the sophomore year of being a college student. Okay, this is really pertaining to high school, but it's interesting when we talk about the Interdisciplinary Studies Associate's degree, is that that's what our students get. But what we have found is there's nuances within that, within our students. So you can see the majority of them are multidisciplinary. But what we have a big contingent of students, like 30-something% of our students are interested in science and medical. And so I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit, but what we've gotta do is make sure that the credits they're earning here are applicable. And so that is something that we work with Janelle's team, Miss Deal's team, making sure that we're on track. All right, TSIA, you gotta have it. And I like to show this slide because just to show the work that is done on the campus. We have a class called PATH, and what it is really, on early college, we're all about, we meet the students where they're at. It's by student, by process, by standard, really getting in depth to find their areas of weakness, filling in those gaps, and helping them move along. But you can see from freshman year to senior year, it's a hustle. And the freshmen this year, they are already rocking it. You can see they're already 62% of what will be our sophomores next year have already passed the reading and the writing of the TSIA. For those of you that don't know what that is, you have to pass that in order to take classes. And so one difference within early college high school is they don't have to have that mathematics part until their senior year. With it being so much of Algebra 2, we wait until that junior year, once they have finished Algebra 2, and then they get it. That's when we really start testing them within the math. So you can see it takes a minute. It takes a minute. And now with the new TSIA, it's changed. The reading and the writing component is put together. And so we're working on strategies for that. STAR. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but we're going to have state testing. Okay. So we did it. Of course, the teachers they're like, oh, Miss Burke. And I said, we're going to celebrate this. And so we are very proud of our teachers and our students for the work that they do. One thing when we talk about approaches, for those of you that, approaches means you've met the bare minimum, all right? And so the whole impetus of public education has changed. So in order for them to be college ready, we need to be at meets and masters, okay? And so in the middle of a pandemic, our scores were very, very good. The teacher's like, well, because usually they're about 98 to 100%. I'm like, guys, we're in the middle of a pandemic and we haven't seen 60% of these students, all right? And so what's interesting when we look at that is we still have a lot of growth. We still have a lot of things to see. And when people see our data, they're like, oh, well, that's those kids are out there. No, what we've got is real kids, dedicated teachers who are trying to fill in the gaps and help them all to be successful. Okay, so on to CTC and the associate's degree. I was asked earlier, is early college high school's impetus changing? And it's not. When we bring students into the 9th grade, the end goal is still the hopes that they're going to get an associate's degree after 4 years. Now, sometimes that does not happen. The majority of our students were on track, and then they might fail statistics, or they might not be successful in biology, and then they'll have to take one course. In the beginning of the year, in the 2019, students were sent back to their home campus if they were not successful. And that always ethically bothered me because we make mistakes in life. We do. The question is, are we going to learn from them? And so they might have messed up in 1301 that first time, but let's give them a second chance. And so if you think about some students, I'm thinking of one of our special ed students who graduated last year. She just could not pass the TSI math. It was just her disability. But she still walked out of here with, I think, 48 college hours. So she deserves a chance to be on our campuses. And so that is probably one difference, is that you're going to see as we go, and Dr. Kraft always says, you know, the average is about 40 to 50%. And so we're a little bit higher than that, but it's really not about that, it's about the experience. And Ms. Coley, as you said, what we have found, and Abdu's already graduated, is that they're more ready. When they come back, they know what TSI is. They know that how much is credit hours. They know they better read that syllabus. They know that they need to go to those office hours. And so they have a greater awareness. And so it is frustrating that some schools, Baylor, Rice, all, they're going to take what they want to take. But when we've talked to college application admissions, if you have a student from high school and a student who has completed an associate's degree at Central Texas College, already there's a difference within that because the level of maturity, they've already been through the system. They already have proven that they're able to handle college level classes. And so that's what we're finding. And so, for example, UT this year just parked a bus outside Early College, and just 7 out of our top 10 are all going to UT. And so we're really getting on the radar. Texas A&M College Station literally comes up twice a year. And so we're starting to see our students, this interest, greater interest within our students because of their, what they get to experience here on the CTC campus. So you can see the first group, just to show you, we were at 94% with 3 weeks to go, and then we dropped down to 74. Since the pandemic has hit, we really went right back. Number one goal, we got to get them to graduate from high school. That is the number one goal. Second one is to get them as many college hours as we can, core complete, and the sprinkles on the cupcake is that associate's degree. So we really had to change our impetus, and unfortunately, we really had to go, we've got to make sure everybody graduates from high school, because that is our number one job within early college high school. So we awarded we got the stats today, 148? 145 of our class of 2020 got their full associate's degree. So we're excited about that. These are just statistics showing what we do with our students. We're starting to see a greater emphasis of students wanting to go straight into the military. And so that's something we're really going to work on. For those of you, the transition between us and Central Texas College and Texas A&M is great. It's a great partnership. And what we learned from 2019 and 20 and that we've been working on, we're still going to get that AA and interdisciplinary studies, but what we have done is we have freed up some electives so that students that are interested in business, criminal justice, science, math, computer science, and health science can take electives in those courses so that if they go to A&M or they go anywhere, then they have a greater idea, because there's nothing worse than wasting money on your own dime. So some of them are experimenting, taking classes. Some are not, are going to stay within the AA framework, but it's something that we're really morphing to, and we're working really hard with CTC, and then taking the BAs from Texas A&M and backward mapping the classes. So everybody's still going to get the interdisciplinary degree, but we freed up some electives so that they can have a taste of maybe a possible career field. Something else we've done is we have a great program on KISD called Pathways Academic Campus, where students can get caught up. So phenomenal. Dr. Bobby Reeders does a phenomenal job. So our students can go there and get caught up and come back, or they can stay there and they can graduate. All right, we've never done this before, but this year we did. We had 17 students graduate from high school because of Pathways Academic Center. So once again, they have the choice to go there and come back. The majority of them stay, and they graduate. So we had 17, and then we have 2 that are almost there, and they're going to graduate in the summer. As we know, this year was incredibly difficult, but we have to make sure that they graduate from high school first. Okay? So scholarships, scholarships, scholarships. KISD, we have the Education Foundation scholarships. And the students, it's interesting, the first year people were like, you know, Kathleen, people don't apply for scholarships. I was like, what do you mean people don't apply for scholarships? And, well, guess what? Sometimes teenagers don't apply for scholarships. And so through our AVID program, we work really hard to make sure that they do graduate, that they do apply for scholarships. Next I'd like to call up is Abdu. And Abdu took a chance in 2015 when I stood up there with nothing, not even a paperclip, I used to say. We had nothing, and I was going around. I didn't even have any teachers, and the first thing we were doing was trying to recruit students. So Abdu started with me in the hallway of the nursing building, if you think back to that, and was one of our first graduating classes. So I'd like for him to talk about his experience at CTC and what he's doing now.
Hello, my name is Abdu, and my experience at CTC was very phenomenal. And at first, when Ms. Burke asked me to sort of explain how my transition was out of ECHS into a university environment, it was kind of hard for me to think about because the transition was so seamless that, you know, for me, nothing really changed. I was taking classes at CTC. I knew how to communicate with professors, look at the syllabus. If my class is over here, I need to go from here to here, and I know what my schedule looks like, and it's kind of different from, you know, how my high school classes were, because, you know, it was all in sort of one area. And even dealing with the teachers at the high school level and the professors at the college level was completely different, and that gave me the experience at CTC to know that. So talking about my transition out of CTC or ECHS from senior year to my freshman university year is almost like asking the junior year to sophomore or senior year, because of just how seamless the transition was. But so not much has changed as far as at the university level, because it's practically it's prepared me so much to where it's practically the same thing. But is there anything else I should? Oh, yeah, I study at the University of Houston. My first year was at Corpus Christi, A&M Corpus Christi. That was a lot like CTC because the campus was small, and so that's where I get a lot of my experience from. At U of H, University of Houston, everything was online because of the pandemic, but even then, I did take, I think, one online class when I was at CTC, so even that prepared me for the pandemic classes and stuff like that. So, anything? Okay. Thank you.
So the class of 2019, we've already had students who have graduated with their bachelor's degree. Our first student graduated right up the road, Texas A&M Central Texas, in December, last December. We had about 7 graduate this May. We're going to have our first 2019 graduate commissioned in as an officer at Christmas at Texas A&M Central Texas. And so we actually have about maybe 82 students right up the road at Texas A&M Central Texas. So, you know, nothing like being homegrown to get a good education. And so we're ecstatic that we're really fostering and growing that, you know, that vertical alignment to Texas A&M Central Texas. So this is 2020, where are they now? You can see we have students all over: Johns Hopkins, Dartmouth, Spelman, Bucknell, Texas Southern. They're all over the place. And what's really fascinating is to learn from them. We're not one of these schools where it's the cookie cutter thing. Every year it's completely different because we want to meet our students where they're at, and they're going to dictate how the curriculum is going to be and how to make them college ready. This is our group here. A lot of them, I said David there's their little badge, University of Pittsburgh. A lot of them are staying within Texas. Like I said, Texas A&M and UT, and they really came out strong this year, trying to keep our students in Texas. Another great partnership we have is with UTSA. They take all their credits. They take every credit that goes at here and just do a great job of recruiting our students. So we're still tallying scholarships. At the point now, we're only at, well, we're at 568,000. You can see there's just some examples of scholarships that students have received. It was a great day at the CT graduation when 9 out of the top 12 students were early college high school students. So often, you know, we get in conversations about, you know, the kids that are struggling, but the majority of the kids are doing what they need to do. They're giving their best. So we're super proud of them. And like I said, in the last 2 years running, Texas A&M has given scholarships to just early college high school students. This year, we're already up to 18 students have received a $5,000 Regents scholarship for their education. So they come back, whatever their degree is, take what they need at CTC, and then transfer over to Texas A&M Central Texas. So this is our little slogan. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. I was blessed that we're going into our 7th year to have the chance to help create a school. We've come a very, very long way from 150 students to 1,100 students. We have an incoming class of freshmen. Right now, 330 will be joining us on the Fort Hood campus. And so I love my job. I love everything about it. I love, it's all about the kids. And that's the one thing at early college high school is what I'm looking for in a teacher is someone that's going to believe in these students. They take a chance on us. They come from all 11 middle schools. They come from Gateway, which is our discipline school. I mean, name it and we've got it. And that's something that we really need to foster within the community. It's okay if you're dyslexic. It's okay if you went to Gateway. It's okay if you're an English language learner. We've got the supports that can help you to get college ready. And that end goal is the associate's degree, but it's still pretty darn good if you walk out of here with 30 hours and a head start on maybe a possible career. I just want to say on behalf of everybody at early college high school, I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot of freshmen, a lot of students on your campus. But as David alluded to, he has his ID in his pockets. And that really is their badge of honor, is to be coming across the road and to be a college student, because that is something that their cohorts that they left at their middle school do not have. You know, we could say that about that. It's not going to be easy, but it is worth it when we see them go across the stage. So we look forward to continue fostering and growing our relationship, our partnership with CTC and Texas A&M. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes, sir?
I think you said that a good number of them are going into the military and that you were going to work on that. Could you elaborate on that somewhat, please? What you
Yes.
mean by
So
that?
when we talk about, it's interesting now because now I've got to track the kids where they are after the graduation. What we found with Abdu's class is still like, I think it was 36% of students didn't have the funds to continue their education, even though they had their associate's degree. And so we had to ponder, why was that? Now, some of them obviously went into the military right away, okay? And so that is something we're looking at. So we've got to make that decision. Yes, is a 4-year, going straight into a 4-year makes great sense to all of us in this room. But for some people, that's not what they need to do at that time. So some have joined the National Guard with a huge signing bonus, which is amazing how much that signing bonus is. But then some took a gap year or started working. But the problem is, if we all know, if you wait too long, life happens. And so what we really want to try to do is, students, cover your ears back there, but have a good plan before they even get to the point that they're making that decision, so that they have those options. And you know, we're right on Fort Hood. We've got great connections with that, and being in the military, that's one route that you can take. So we need to explore all those routes. And yes, we do, you know, is the end game everybody go 4-year? Well, on paper it is, but in reality it's not, sir. And some people would benefit greatly economically, maturity-wise, going in the military and then ascertaining their a higher level degree if that's what they want to do through the military.
Thank you, but I have a couple other questions that go along it. One, are they aware of the scholarship that Central Texas Foundation provides?
For CTC?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and some of our students have been awarded that scholarship.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good. And, Mr. Charles, and I were talking about maybe we need to make this more known to others about the success of the scholarship program. Now, in regard to them going into the military, this is way out and maybe too dumb to even talk about. But I was mentioning to Dr. Kraft and Mr. Yiannopoulos about President Biden wanting to provide funds for cybersecurity education and training. Is there some way that if these folks coming out of our program here, going into the military and be given a special part of an education program in the Army, and such as that, along with maybe some other things? I just throwing that out. I don't know that it'd be possible, but I'd like to see CTC, reap some benefits dollar-wise out of President Biden's program.
I'll leave that to the big wigs on that.
Yeah, okay.
But, we did have our valedictorian worked very well with Professor Wilson, won a national coding championship for Central Texas College, Jenny Steinhauer, through the work that we're doing. And when I talked about those pathways, they're all getting the same associate's degree, but you've got to let them dip their toes in some things before that, because as you said, David's going in as a freshman, but after a semester, he's bumped right up to a junior. So the last thing we want to have is duplicitous credits. We need to make sure that what they're getting here, they are transferable, but is it what they want to do? They've got to be able to we had the luxury, those of us that went traditional, we had those first 2 years. I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist until I took chemistry, and I was like, I'm not doing this. And, so we had that luxury. So yes, it is about, the financial savings that they have, but it's really about giving them the experiences that they need. And that's what we have learned over the last 6 years. That first year, I was still walking them to the gym every single day because they were 14 on a college campus. I've kind of let that go. But the experiences that they're afforded here, as David and Abdul alluded to, have really set them up for success, whereas maybe some of their counterparts at that same age are floundering on the four-year university.
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Now, with the pathways you were talking about with the, you have a large group of kids that go straight to the military.
It's on. You're on.
Okay. I'm a byproduct of that too, because I got my bachelor's degree on active duty. But you're gonna get a large propensity of kids to join the military here just because for this, no matter what. But with early college, just remember that they may not achieve their associate's degree and carry on after that, but if you join up in the Army, I know for a fact, if you have over 30 hours of college, you're gonna get a year and a half jump on the average private that joins the Army with rank. If you come in the Army with private first class, that's a lot. When you're Joe out there and you got more money in your pocket because one kid didn't even attempt it, you got some college credit, you went on to join the Army, you got more rank, you get a lot more money. It goes a long way. And with that foundation, it encourages them to go after tuition assistance. And when they get out, finally finish a degree if they haven't already done, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that's what we learned that first year when there was like 37% did not continue on their education. It was why, and most of it was economic. And so, we don't have a large propensity, and if I said that, I need to correct that. But it's something we're making sure that, like I said before, they leave us, because our responsibility shouldn't be once they walk across that stage, because they've invested 4 years in a program. How are we making that transition? And that's that next step. Once they leave early college, where are they going? What are they doing? And, so that's something we're really moving towards. A problem of practice is, how are we supporting them once they leave us? Are they getting what they need? And one thing, if those of you that work on this campus, our students are very vociferous, and they are going to talk you, and they're going to let you know what's working and what's not working. And we kind of train them that way over on the campus, so that they, will speak with their professors and advocate for themselves. So they're very good at letting us know, how we can make things better.
Kathleen, what TV show were you guys mentioned on in the last, it's been a few months ago, early high school? One of your students was on there. My brother is a retired postmaster for the city of Los Angeles. And he called me, he said, what is this early high school? He wanted to know more about it. And so I got to share it with him. But one of your students was addressed. She was on the screen. And
Next item is the Chancellor's travel schedule. Mr. Annapolis.
Okay. My travel schedule. Let me get over here to it. I have one trip scheduled for July the 13th to the 15th. And so that will finish out the third quarter of this year, and I need board approval. I'm on the board of CCME, Council of Colleges for Military Education, and that's an on-site meeting in San Antonio, so it's me driving down there and spending, I think, 2 nights and attending the board meeting and planning for the symposium that'll happen in February. So this will close out this year.
Okay. Item number 6 is the Casablanca travel contract options. Mr. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. Casablanca Travel provides airfare, car rental, and hotel booking services for Central Texas College and all of its continental campuses. Despite the college's inability to travel for the past year due to the pandemic, feedback from the administration has been very positive, and as a result, the administration's recommendation approval to exercise the first option year of Casablanca Travel Services. And just for your knowledge, the term of the contract calls for a base period with 4 12-month option periods. So as stated previously, CTC would seek to exercise option year 1, which has a period from September 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2022. Any questions?
Any questions of Mr. Gonzalez? Thanks, sir. Item number 7 is the impact fire contract options. Mr. Harmson.
Good afternoon. I'm here to discuss Impact Fire and their option year 4, which is the 4th and final year. Impact Fire performs regular maintenance and testing on all of our fire alarm and suppression systems. The contract is estimated not to exceed $250,000 over the 4th option period. And so with that, I can either answer any questions, but administration recommends approval of the exercise of the 4th option year for Impact Fire.
Any questions of Mr. Harmson? Thank you, sir. The next item is recommending topics for upcoming agenda items or any announcements from the trustees. Mr. Armstrong.
Charles and I were talking about the possibility of, making our foundation scholarship program a more awareness of it. I don't know, it may be at the top level right now. But if Mr. Yiannopoulos thinks that it would be beneficial for us to have a discussion of that, I'd like to see that. But I don't want to burden him with something. I don't want to burden him with something that he thinks we're doing fine with. But new ideas bring up other benefits.
We can address that at the next workshop next month.
Mr. Hollinger.
Yes, we've been discussing ways we can leverage our already formidable background, because we have a terrible time trying to give away scholarships. As you know, you sit on that board side to side. And so, yes, we do need to carry that on and see how we get the best leverage out of that if we can.
Okay.
Next workshop is good.
Member Towers. Mr. Bilby.
When are we gonna have a budget workshop? Another one.
You're supposed to do that to us in July, is that right?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a little late in July before I've got any real data.
Yeah.
I'm working that all pretty hard right now. What we shared at the first one, I don't anticipate anything changing. The state of Texas did exactly what we thought they were gonna do at that point in time. Our expenditures for insurance, which is always scary for us, related to health insurance, information I provided last time just needs to be finalized up and put in a little bowl. But ultimately, the biggest difference this year from every other year is we have all of that federal CARES dollars that has to be put into the budget next year because those dollars must all be spent by January of '22. So the budget will definitely balance without any problem because I've got several $1 million that were unexpected prior to the pandemic that will be added into that budget.
I guess that was my real question, is are we still on track for those dollars, or did somebody pull the rug out?
No, as a matter of fact, we're more than on track. They're in what they call G5, which means all I have to do is draw it down. It's in
Okay.
a designated account for us, and as we spend it, we draw it down, and every penny of it is out there. So I don't anticipate having any problem whatsoever spending all of the money on the institutional side. We have need that we're filling that falls under the requirements of those dollars, but then we also have the lost revenue that we've talked about, which will be used to make up the difference
Yeah.
whatever we don't spend.
I'm comfortable with that.
Good. Mr. Pierce?
Yes, I have, just three things. Just let the board know I won't be here next Tuesdays for the trustee meeting. A real good friend of mine passed away on Thursday, so I will be at his funeral. Second is, I can turn this in early in Ms. Havens.
Yes.
Okay, and then, thank you. And then third, I don't know if any of y'all ever look at the YouTube stuff for the school. Our trustee meetings, and this is why I pushed it to be recorded and put out, we average close to 150 people viewing our workshops and trustee meetings every time it's put out. So, we look around, we have mainly employees in here, staff, but there's 150 people out in the Killeen, Coppers Cove area that watches our meetings. That's good. That means people are interested in what happens with their tax dollars in their school system.
Okay. Ms. Coley?
Nothing.
Okay. Announcements of the regular board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021, and the board workshop for Tuesday, July the 20th, 2021. And at this point, we're going to have an executive session, so if we could assemble behind us in the regular board meeting, it won't take but just a couple of minutes.
Freddie, can you open that boardroom for us, please? Dr. Carter?